and welcome to A Little Less Lisa. So this channel, if you are finding me just, by searching or something, is going to be focused on health and wellness, and obviously at the moment, a weight loss journey that I have started upon. So if you're coming from my other channel, Luxury and Life in the Middle, thanks for coming over. I hope you enjoy this content as well. We'll start out by saying, like, subscribe, all those things that we do on our channels. But let me give you a little background for those of you, like I said, who are new to me and you don't even know my name. Obviously, it is Lisa. Nice to meet you all. And I have struggled with my weight, I would generally say, pretty much for my whole life. There's a somewhat large section there where I didn't really struggle so much, and we'll talk about that. So today I'm basically, going to give you a little introduction to who I am and my weight loss past, and just, sort of how I got to where I am today. And then the next video I will talk about what I'm doing currently and how it's going. So anyway, like I said, my name is Lisa, and I am in the middle of my life, as I like to say on my other channel. I am 57 years old. I actually just turned 57 earlier in April, and, experiencing all those things that you generally experience when you're in the middle of your life. So I've obviously gone through perimenopause and then went through menopause, and now I am officially post-menopausal and have, never gone on hormone therapy or anything like that, but just kind of, I don't think I had horrible symptoms when I was actually sort of going through menopause. I didn't have like horrible night sweats or any of that sort of hot flashes or things like that. However, I did gain weight. So with that, let's start off with when I was a kid. So I started off life as a very big baby. For when I was born, 9 pounds was a huge child. Now, I'm not blaming my, struggle with weight on being a large baby. I'm just letting you know I started out as a pretty large kid. And then I would say an overweight child. I certainly wasn't obese by any means. I now look back at pictures of myself, of course, at that age and think, oh my gosh, you really weren't overweight. But, just compared to my friends, they were all little skinny twigs and tiny little people, and I was just bigger. Now, some of that probably was just I was developing earlier and whatnot, but, I definitely was on the heavier side. Like I said, not obese. As I grew up, I constantly saw my mother and father on diets. You name it, my parents probably did it at that time. Again, I don't say that to blame my parents whatsoever. I just say it for the fact that, I grew up knowing about dieting and seeing it on a sort of consistent basis, and not being happy with your weight, etc., and trying to lose weight and all of that. And I guess I should maybe feel fortunate because we didn't have social media back then, so it could have been 10 million times worse. But I did grow up with that sort of background and mentality. So when I got to 13 years old and I had just finished my bat mitzvah, I decided that it was time for me to lose weight. So I went on what was honestly probably a pretty realistic, meal plan, diet kind of thing. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I wasn't, cutting my calories down to 500 or anything. It was a pretty slow and steady weight loss process. Now, I would say probably at that time, I'm guessing I was about maybe 5'4", maybe 5'5", somewhere around there. And I remember my starting weight when I started my diet was 133 pounds. Now, if I was that weight again at 5'4" or 5'5", I would never consider myself overweight. But at the time, again, comparing myself to my friends, I just felt like I was so much bigger than everybody else. And so I dieted my way down to about 108 pounds or so, which on my frame was very, very thin. Again, now that I look back on pictures during that time, and I almost look like I won't say the word that starts with an A, but you know what I mean. I was really, painfully thin. And then, as you do, you start eating again and, going into McDonald's and having that fast food and whatever the case is. And I slowly started to gain that weight back. And by the time I was in high school and my sophomore year, we had moved schools, and we moved cities actually. And so I left, all of my friends that I had had for, all of my growing up, and moved to this new city and this new high school, which is, hard enough to do. And, again, started gaining some weight. And then I believe I went on another diet, because I do remember in between, before sort of one of my musicals, I grew up performing in musical theater, and I was at the lead for both my junior and senior year of high school. And so, but I can't remember which show it was, but I remember dieting before that show so I could look better for the show. And it was a constant back and forth, right? And if you are somebody like me, I'm sure this is all sounding incredibly familiar to you, right? So it just continued from there. Like I said, a lot of yo-yo dieting, losing 15 pounds, gaining 15 pounds plus another 5 pounds, and losing, 15 pounds and then gaining another 20 pounds. Just sort of that top number kept creeping up and creeping up. I did all the diets, right? I tried just, watching what I was eating. I became a little, I would say, exercise obsessed at one point. I did OptiFast. So, remember, for those of you back in the day when Oprah pulled out her wagon full of fat, that was how she lost her weight, was on OptiFast, which is a completely liquid diet, absolutely no food whatsoever. And, I did lose weight on that, although I was not super, adherent to the program. So I definitely did eat things while I was on OptiFast, so I didn't lose, I'm sure, as well as I should have. But I did OptiFast, I did Jenny Craig, I did Weight Watchers, different versions of Weight Watchers as they've gone through the years and the changes. So I've done lots of different things. And like I said, just yo-yoed back and forth, which is not healthy for anyone. In 2005, so when our two older ones were, little, but not babies or anything, I decided that I was going to lose weight. And so at that time, I lost 85 pounds. And I pretty much was able to keep that weight off until about 2018, 2019. So occasionally during those, whatever that is, 13, 14 years, I would maybe, gain 10, 15 pounds, but then I could very, very easily take it off. It would take me, sort of no more than 2 to 3 months, probably more like 2, to take off that weight. Super easy. I would just go back on, do one of the sort of diets, more sort of high protein, low carbohydrate diets, and the weight would come off. And then, I'd stabilize and I'd be that weight for a good, year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. And then I might start putting on a few pounds again, but then I'd take it off, like I said, until 2018, 2019. At that point, I was having a lot of stress in my life. We were just dealing with quite a bit as a family, and it just was a very, very hard time. And I obviously decided that the best way to handle my stress was to eat, and not eat in healthy ways. So I remember buying the little mini saltine crackers. My kids loved those, especially Jack. Jack loves those mini saltine crackers. And so I would buy those, and I would buy like 2 boxes. So I would put one in the pantry for the family, and then I would have one like hidden in my office. And I could eat one of those boxes in like 2 days, very easily. And so those kind of things were happening. In addition to that, I was also starting to go through perimenopause at that time. So things were slowing down. And so even when I would decide, okay, Lisa, this is ridiculous, you need to do something about this, it was getting harder and harder to take off the weight like I did before. So, before, when I would gain 10 or, 15 pounds, I could easily take it off, like I said, in, 2 months. Now, it was taking lots of months, and then I would get discouraged. So then I would just keep eating and gain more weight. Sorry about that. So by about early 2020, so right literally as the pandemic was starting, I decided to step on the scale. Now I knew that I had gained weight, okay? I mean, I wasn't oblivious to it, but I had no idea how much I had gained. And I had essentially gained almost 50 pounds, about 45 pounds of that 85 pounds that I had lost. And I panicked. So I bought a Peloton, luckily very early on in the pandemic, so I only had to wait 3 weeks, because very shortly after that, you had a really long and hard time, a long wait and a hard time getting a Peloton bike during the pandemic. And I started on Weight Watchers. Now, I was still only in perimenopause at this time. And so I started Weight Watchers, and I thought, points will be good. I can do this. And I really was taking my fitness and health very seriously. And so I was working the plan and drinking my water and, getting my steps in or getting on my Peloton, and the scale showed it. I, very steadily, not as quickly as before, but steadily lost weight. And I lost about 35 pounds of the 45 or so that I had gained. And at the same time, I was also doing a lot of strength training. So even though I didn't ever get back down to sort of my pre-weight gain weight and the weight that I sort of maintained for a good, like I said, 13, 14 years, I was doing a lot of strength training. So I'm sure that I gained muscle. I definitely, you could see it in my physique. I definitely looked better. Even though I wasn't necessarily at the same lower weight. And that was great. And so I did that, and then 2 things happened. 1, I got COVID. And 2, I did 75 hard. Now, before that, I loved exercise. I loved getting on my Peloton. I loved working out and doing strength training. I looked forward to it, and I did it almost every day of the week. At least 5 times a week, a lot of times 6, and sometimes 7. I enjoyed it. I got those endorphins. You know how they talk about, the endorphins you get from exercise, and for the most part, I was like, yeah, maybe you get endorphins, but yeah, for me, it's just a workout and I hate it. But in this case, it was really, like I said, I enjoyed it. I liked feeling the benefit from it. I liked feeling like I accomplished something. And like I said, 1, I got COVID, and 2, I did 75 hard. And if you're not familiar with 75 hard, one of the parts of it is that you have to do, it's 75 days long, and you have to work out 2 times a day for 45 minutes minimum each workout. And doing that and knowing that I had to, and not that it wasn't a choice anymore, just killed exercise for me. It just absolutely took every ounce of joy out of exercise for me. And I then stopped working out then and started eating not so great, and just, you know where this goes. So then the scale started creeping up and creeping up a little more and a little more. And then I actually went through menopause. So as the scale creeped up, I was like, Lisa, you've gotta get this weight off. And so I thought, I'll go back and I'll do Weight Watchers again. That worked for me. Yes, it wasn't the fastest thing in the world, but I steadily lost probably, 6 to 8, maybe 6, 7 pounds a month. I mean, I was losing it at that rate that they tell you rate to lose it, right? a pound and a half a week kind of thing. And I would have been fine with that. Except now I wasn't losing that fast. I could go a month and maybe lose half a pound. And that just gets really discouraging, right? You're depriving yourself, or you feel like you're depriving yourself, right? You're hungry, or you're not allowing yourself, maybe some of the foods that you would like to eat because you just don't know how much you could eat for that many points. I don't know. For me, I really tried to keep it simple when I was on that plan, knowing exactly, okay, this is an apple, that apple's worth this many, it's free or whatever. But my point is, it didn't come off. So I just kind of abandoned it because honestly, it was just frustrating. And so here I am. We moved to New York. For those of you who, again, are not coming from my other channel, I spent the majority of my adult life in the Kansas City area, so in the Midwest kind of area, and I grew up in the Midwest. And we decided to move to New York, which is why you can see this, large building behind me here. And I love it. It's fantastic. But if you didn't come from my other channel, you won't know that it's been a little stressful moving here. We did an entire gut renovation on the co-op that we purchased, and it's been a lot. It's been a thing. And it, definitely has affected my health, and, have seen a little bit of weight gain. I mean, it's interesting. Sometimes I've lost about 5 pounds, and then sometimes I've gained 5 pounds. So I've kind of been gaining and losing this same sort of 5 pounds, I guess I would say, over like the last maybe 18 months or so as a result of what's been going on. So that brings us to the present day. Today is April 29th, I think that's about right. And and I have decided to start this channel so that I can document my journey to not only losing weight, but also really taking my health into my own hands. I realize I am not getting any younger, despite the fact that my children know that I'm only 28 years old, and I will forever be 28 years old. But I'm not getting any younger, even if I stay 28. And I need to start doing things now so that I can live as long of a healthy life as I can. And so I want to dive into research and, the supplements and the exercise and the data of what I need to do to become healthy and stay healthy. So that is what this channel is going to be all about. As I said, it probably, at least in the beginning, will start out more as a weight loss journey, since that's what I am doing now. I have already started the program that I am on, which I will share in the next video, but I wasn't so sure that I was going to share this on social media. So I didn't decide really to do this and to start this channel until, honestly, probably this past weekend. So mostly because I just wanted to know that I could be successful. And I realized that there is just as much to learn from somebody who is not being successful and struggling, and I'm sure that those moments will come on this journey for me. But I decided that I did want to share this, so here we are. So that is my story up until now. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you know when I upload videos, and hit that bell, especially so that you get notified, because I don't know what my upload schedule will be on this channel. I don't know if it'll be once a week, twice a week, once every other week. I don't know. Obviously I have my other channel that I post, at least 3 times a week generally on there. So we'll see how this goes, but I really wanted a place to be accountable. And I would encourage you that if you are on some kind of journey and if you need an accountability partner, I am more than happy to be that person for you. I know not everybody wants to put their business out on the internet, so I totally get that. But if you would like an accountability partner, drop me a comment in the comment box below, or shoot me a DM over on Instagram on my Luxury and Life in the Middle account, or you can email me at luxuryandlifeinthemiddle@gmail.com. Any of those places will find me, and like I said, I would be happy to be your accountability partner, because I know that really helps. And there are certainly other Facebook groups and other things you can join. So if you're looking for something that might be a little more anonymous or whatever, you certainly could go that route too. But I just wanted to throw that out there as an option. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I hope you will join me on this journey by subscribing and turning on the bell. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It does help the algorithm. And obviously as a new channel, I'm trying to get this out, to as many people as possible. And yeah, I think that's about it. I don't have another video to pop up over here for you to watch, because this is the very first one. So with that, I will just say I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.